Not every day you get confetti on you, am I right? That's pretty good. So hi, I'm Evan Stockton. I'm the TV play-by-play broadcaster for Western Michigan men's and women's basketball. And before we officially get going here, I thought I'd tell everybody, this is an honest-to-God, I'm not kidding you, 100% true story. The first time I got to meet the now head coach of Western Michigan women's basketball. So a couple of years ago, when she was the head coach at Detroit Mercy, before we do our broadcast, we always have coach calls, whether it be over Zoom or phone call, just so we can get to know these visiting teams a little bit before they come in here to Kalamazoo. And full disclosure, my brother plays soccer at Detroit Mercy, so I'm always following the Titans, and in the back of my heart, I always want them to do well. And I knew Detroit Mercy women's basketball had had a rough couple of years before Coach took over. So we go into this call, and I'm thinking, why would she want the job? Who is this coach? Who is walking into this situation? Why should people believe in Detroit Mercy women's basketball? And again, this is a 100% true story. We leave the Zoom call 30 minutes later. I get off the call. I call my mom, and I go, Mom, I just talked to one of the most impressive coaches I have ever talked to in my life. I would go play for her. I can't even believe it. We have to tell Vincent, my youngest brother. The women's basketball coach at Detroit Mercy knows what she is doing. Fast forward 2 years later, and now she is the head women's basketball coach here at Western Michigan. And I think we're all very, very excited to see what she can do, and it's going to take a lot to follow the shoes of Shane Klipfel, who so many of us got to know and appreciate and become the winningest coach in the history of women's basketball here at Western Michigan. So without further ado, Western Michigan Athletic Director Dan Bartholomew.
Thank you, Evan. We all know Evan, who does a fantastic job on our ESPN Plus broadcasts. Hey, is it a great day to be a Bronco? Yes. There we go. Let's hear it for our band and spirit squads who never miss an event. Thank you for being here. It is a great day to be a Bronco. It is a great week to be a Bronco. It is a great time to be a Bronco. And we have so many reasons for that, and we're celebrating a lot of them this week, but not the least of which is the exciting introduction of our new head women's basketball coach, Kate Octar, and her wife, Tina, and their children, Reese and Archie. And for those of you who might be wondering how seriously Coach Octar is going to take academics, her family is not here today for this announcement because they did not want to take the kids out of school. How about that? A search with such a fantastic result does not come without a lot of help, and therefore many deserved thank yous. First, thanks to all of you. It never ceases to amaze me how many people will show up for a press conference open to the public. But of course, we do that for a reason. We do that on purpose. Your support means the world to us. We want you here to celebrate these moments, and we want to provide connections that are fun and welcoming. We preach family in this department, and you all are a part of that family. I also want to thank Shane Klipfel, who we celebrate as a recent retiree here at Western and our all-time winningest coach. I describe Shane as a breath of fresh air, someone who welcomed my family into this department, was a great partner as we set a new standard for this program, and who we will miss as a member of our team. I have told Shane and Connie that they have lifetime all-access passes here at University Arena and wherever else we might be playing in a few years, and I look forward to seeing them using those. I want to thank our women's basketball team, okay? All of us out here in the audience, right? Myself included. We know transitions are tough. Transitions are difficult. Whether it's a new boss, a new job, a new home, uncertainty can be unsettling. But like we talked about a week ago, there is growth in transition and uncertainty. And this team did nothing but put their head down, went to class, took care of their responsibilities, leaned on each other, right? And have linked arms in support of this new coach. Let's hear it for this great team. I had a small committee that assisted me with various interviews and vetting candidates. And I want to thank Elaine Russell, our Senior Associate Athletic Director for External Relations, who's running around probably trying to park the Ford Bronco. Kiana Smith, our Senior Associate Athletic Director and Senior Women's Administrator. Dr. Gary Bischoff, a Professor in Counseling Education Psychology and our Faculty Athletic Rep. And WMU Hall of Famer and all-time great, Vicki Muskie. I see her sitting up there, who sits courtside at our games and provided invaluable counsel during the search process. Finally, as always, I want to thank my boss, Dr. Ed Montgomery. As you know, we've got a lot going on campus this week. He was not able to make the press conference. He will be at the reception later tonight. And I will tell you, as he always does, Ed took many phone calls and in-person meetings for me as we quickly took a list of about 25 candidates down to 6 and then down to 1. And here's what we were looking for on that list, okay? Proven head coaching experience, number 1. Number 2, postseason and championship experience with an understanding of the Mid-American Conference. Number 3, recruiting ties that showed both the ability to develop athletes and fill spots through the transfer portal with strong connections in Detroit and Chicago. Also important to us, an ability to connect with the community and energize the sport of women's basketball. It is no accident that you are looking at pictures of what is going to be the finest performance center and arena in the country. We have a tremendous opportunity here with a 2-year runway to get this community. It is a community that is energized about basketball. I know that. I've seen it. It is an opportunity to make women's basketball cool because women's basketball is cool. And to get our community rallied around a winning program and a really exciting and fun head coach. We were looking for demonstrated examples of what I call a care factor. Someone who values what we value, holistically preparing our student athletes to graduate, prepared to pursue their passions in life, creating high-quality connections with our community that will last them beyond their eligibility, and winning MAC championships. And finally, there was one intangible that I was looking for. Not easy to measure, but it was important, right? Because at Western Michigan, success follows those who are willing to roll up their sleeves, get their hands dirty, set their ego aside, and grind. There's a reason we have identified grit as one of our values. We needed someone who could just come here and outwork you. We had a great pool of candidates, and I would add that while Western has always had great things to offer coaching candidates, the ongoing construction of, again, what I will tell you, is the finest basketball performance and training facility in the country, coupled with a new arena with the best student and fan amenities in the country, opened up a pool of candidates that we would not have had access to otherwise. Kate quickly rose to the top of that list. Kate has served as a head coach at 2 Division I institutions. At Loyola Chicago, she took a program that went from 2-28 the year prior to her arrival to 18 wins and their first postseason berth in their history. Most recently at Detroit Mercy, she took a program that averaged 2 wins a season over the previous 5 years prior to her arrival, including a 1-29 record the year before she got there, to 32 wins in the last 2 seasons. A story that was covered extensively both regionally and nationally. You don't have success at programs like that without that grit that I talked about. And don't just take it from me. The morning that we offered the job to Kate and she accepted, I had been in close contact with one of our all-time greats here, Carrie Moore, from the start of this process, sought her feedback throughout. And when I let her know the direction in which we went in with this coaching search, unsolicited, her immediate response was, Dan, great news about Kate. That's a home run hire, if you ask me. One of the toughest competitors that I've ever known as a player and a coach. No doubt she will work tirelessly to get this program back to where it belongs. She hasn't always just taken on tough jobs in her career. She coached at some of the highest levels of women's college basketball, both in the Big East and the Atlantic 10, where she helped lead St. Bonaventure to a Sweet 16 berth. She is one of the most decorated athletes in the history of the MAC. a 4-time MAC champion at Bowling Green, who led that team to a Sweet 16 berth, was an All-American, and a proud member of their Hall of Fame. In speaking with the staff and other community members in Detroit, they loved Kate. They don't love me very much right now for taking her away, but all spoke very highly of her character, her high motor, and her ability to connect. And finally, there are so many examples I could give you of the care factor that I described. But my committee member, Vicki Muskie, I think reminded me best of that in a moment that was really powerful for all of us. During any interview, right, we pepper the candidates with questions for 45 minutes to an hour. And then, of course, we allow them to ask us questions. And usually they ask us questions like what the budget is going to be and how many assistants they can hire and how much money they're going to have for recruiting. All good questions, right? Kate's first question was, how is the team doing and who is taking care of them? That is our new head women's basketball coach. So ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to welcome Kate Achter to the Bronco family.
Well, I can say with certainty this is the first time I have been in this arena and not been heckled by the band. So I am so happy that you are now on my side. Dan, I thank you for the kind remarks. If it's all right with you, I'd like to share just a couple of things. Certainly my excitement for this new position, but also excitement for this entire community. So Dan, thank you, the hiring committee, thank you for believing not only in me, but the vision for Bronco women's basketball. Just believe that we are poised to break through the ceiling, and the sky is truly the limits for us. My family and I are so grateful to be a part of this wonderful community, and believe it or not, probably not shocking to most of you, they have already wrapped their arms tightly around us, so we are very, very thankful for the love and support immediately. As Dan said, Tina, Reese, and Archie couldn't be here because of school, but I did have explicit instructions to share a few things with you. They are very excited to be running around this building come next fall. They plan to eat every ounce of popcorn from the concession stands. And they only agreed to move if there was a Tim Hortons and they could still get their beloved Timbits. So good on all fronts for us. Today is an amazing day, not only for women's basketball, but for all of athletics. Our vision for women's basketball aligns completely with the department as a whole. Our players will have an excellent student-athlete experience, where holistically we give them every tool necessary to continue to find growth. In the classroom, we will dominate the books. We will dominate the relationships with professors and with staff, and people on campus will not only recognize us for our play on the floor, but for our performances in the classroom. And on the floor, winning will be the standard. And our fans will embrace our gritty and hard-nosed brand of basketball, while finding joy in watching the chemistry that our staff and team has took so much care to build. My staff and I will build a team that we can all be proud of, and we will do it with values centered around two things that have always been core to me as a head coach: hard work and togetherness. If you're lucky enough to sit close to any huddle that I have, you will hear us break down with hard work and together every single time. And that's what you'll know us for. We have already hit the ground running, and I cannot wait to start sharing in the successes that we are already having as a program. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity, and go Broncos.
All right, so for the group, for any assembled media who have any questions for Dan, for Coach, feel free to ask. Adam will be roaming around with the microphone so you can ask your questions.
Yeah, Dan, if you could just tell us again a little bit more about those first conversations that you had with Kate. What really stood out to you about just her interest in the position and everything that she brings?
Yeah, well, for one, she really wanted the job, and that stood out, right? She was excited about what we were doing here. You know, it didn't take 10 phone calls of convincing. It was one conversation about the vision, about the resources that were going into the program, about the arena, and Kate was in. And then, you know, like I said, I sensed an energy and an intensity that I felt worked here and that I felt was going to be a good fit. Of course, we got into more detailed conversations about the team and her plans for the team. But what I can tell you about Kate is she's engaging from that first conversation, and there's a confident intensity in her that it has translated to success and will do so here as well.
Yeah, about the team, Kate, have you talked to the players, or what's your plan moving forward with that? Individual meetings, or?
Thanks, Tony. Yep, we've spoken with the team. We had our very first team meeting, I think, like 6 hours after I accepted the job, and we discussed what the values of our program would be going forward, and we've devised a little bit of a plan to get some workouts in here in the next couple weeks so that we can, you know, really figure out our basketball system, what works and what doesn't, and certainly so they get the opportunity to learn what I'm going to be like as well. I think that's only fair. But yeah, almost everybody we believe has showed up today, so that's a really good start for us.
Hi, Kate. It's Matt Ayler here with MLive. You know, Dan, when I was talking to him last week about when you were hired, he brought up that grit and that tenacity. I just wanted to know, like, why is that so important to bring to this program, and where did it come from?
I personally believe grittiness is inherent. I think it comes from your upbringing. I think it's, you know, learning to fail successfully. I think that's where it comes from. And why is it so important to bring to this program? I've won in the MAC. I won a lot of games in the MAC, and I know that you win with two things. You win with people, and you win with grittiness, because it's not just a straight shot. You know, the path to success is often winding, and just from experience, I believe wholeheartedly in those things. In taking over 2 rebuilds previously, those were things that we leaned on as well. So, you know, I know there are quite a few formulas for success, but I truly, truly believe in those things.
All right, we're all set. Thank you to everybody who's here. If anyone has a special one-on-one they'd like to talk to Coach, we'll handle that over there on the side as well. Congratulations to all up here on the stage, and go Broncos. Thanks for being here. You didn't think I'd remember a random Zoom call, did you? Very nice.